Okay, let's talk about Rick Warren's The Purpose-Driven Life. This thing isn't just a book, it's a straight-up global phenomenon. It has sold tens of millions of copies. But what's the secret sauce? What makes it connect with so many people? Well, in this explainer, we're going to unpack the core message that's grabbed so many, and we'll use the book's own powerful framework to do it.
So the book kicks off with a question that, let's be honest, we've all asked ourselves at some point. It's a huge one. What on earth am I here for? But here's the first big twist. The book's most radical idea might be that to find the answer, we've all been looking in completely the wrong place. It says, you can't start with you.
So, what does a purpose-driven life even look like in practice? The book paints this incredible picture for us. Think of a giant, healthy tree with roots that go way down deep, always finding water. It doesn't matter if it's hot or if there's a drought, that tree stays green and it's always producing fruit. That's the kind of stability and fruitfulness that having a real purpose is supposed to bring.
And yet, so many of us feel a lot more like a dried-up twig than a flourishing tree. The book argues it's because we're being driven by the wrong things. Maybe it's resentment from old hurts that you just keep replaying in your head. Or maybe it's that constant need for approval where you're always letting other people's opinions control you. Or the big one, materialism, this myth that having more stuff will make you happy. The point is, no matter which of these you chase, they all lead to the same dead end, a life that's stressful and just feels empty. Okay, so if those are the wrong things to chase, where do we find the right one? This is where we get to the absolute foundation of the whole book. Your purpose doesn't begin with you. It's not something you're going to find by just looking inward. The analogy it uses is perfect. To figure out why something was made, you don't ask the invention itself. You have to ask the inventor. And the book claims it's the exact same for us. We can only figure out who we are by starting with our creator. All right, so that brings us to the first of 5 big purposes the book lays out. And I'll be honest, this one might sound a little surprising when you first hear it. Purpose number 1 is this: you were planned for God's pleasure. The whole idea here is that a primary reason you exist is to bring joy to your creator.
But how do you actually do that? How do you bring pleasure to God? Well, the book's answer is one single powerful word: worship. But, and this is key, it immediately redefines what most of us think of as worship. It's not just about singing songs in church. It's a whole 24/7 lifestyle. It's about turning every little everyday activity, from doing laundry to finishing a project at work, into something done for God.
This quote right here just nails it. Worship is not a part of your life. It is your life. See, it's not some event you add to your calendar. It's the attitude you bring to every single moment. The book even mentions Martin Luther, who said that a dairymaid can milk cows to the glory of God. And that's really the heart of this first purpose, making the ordinary extraordinary. So from that relationship with God, the book then pivots to our relationships with each other. And that brings us to the second purpose: you were formed for God's family. The big idea here is that life is meant to be a team sport. We are built for community, for what the Bible calls fellowship. The book is really clear on this. You simply cannot grow into the person you're meant to be in isolation. It's just not possible. A huge part of why we're here is to learn how to love other people, even when they're not perfect. But we're not talking about just surface level how's the weather kind of stuff. As this quote points out, real community is built on authenticity. It only happens when people are brave enough to be honest and take off their masks. It means being vulnerable about our struggles, because it's only in that kind of real, honest space that true connection can actually happen. Now, that journey inside a real community leads us straight into the third purpose, which is all about your own inner transformation. And this one is a lifelong project. You were created to become like Christ. There's a fancy theological word for this whole process. It's sanctification. But all it really is this long uphill journey of becoming a better person. The book really hammers this home. This is not a quick fix. It's a slow, gradual process of character development that's going to take, well, the rest of your life. And the book absolutely does not sugarcoat how hard this can be. This quote really gets at it, acknowledging that growth is often really difficult. It means letting go of old habits, facing your fears, and sometimes dealing with loss. Every single change, even a good one, means giving something up, and that's just a necessary part of the journey. Okay, so after focusing on who you're becoming on the inside, the book shifts to what you are meant to do on the outside. And that's the fourth purpose.
It's about your unique contribution. You are shaped for serving God. To help figure out what your unique contribution is, the book introduces this awesome acronym, SHAPE. It's the unique mix of your spiritual gifts, your heart or passions, your natural abilities, your personality, and all of your life experiences, the good and the bad. The real power of this idea is that nothing in your life is wasted. Every single bit of it shapes you for a unique purpose. What's so powerful about this purpose of serving is how it just completely flips our culture's script on what greatness means. I mean, the world usually measures greatness by your status, your position, how many people serve you. But the book presents this totally countercultural idea. God measures greatness by service and by how many people you serve. It's about shifting from wanting to be the boss to wanting to be a servant. And that heart for serving others naturally points outward, which leads to the fifth and final purpose. This one is all about sharing the hope that you've found with other people. You are made for a mission. A huge part of this mission is actually really simple. Just sharing your personal story. The book gives this super practical 4-step framework to help you do it. First, what was your life like before? Second, how did you realize you needed to change? Third, what did you do about it? And fourth, what's different now? The reason this is so powerful, the book says, is that people can argue with ideas and sermons all day long, but nobody can argue with your personal experience. It just connects on a human level. So, we've gone through all 5 purposes: bringing God pleasure, being part of his family, becoming like Christ, serving, and being on a mission. But, and this is a really big but, it's so important to understand that these aren't a to-do list. If you just try to check them off one by one, you're going to miss the entire point. Instead of a checklist, the goal is balance. The book uses this great analogy of a pentathlon, where an athlete has to be good at all 5 events, not just a specialist in 1 or 2. A truly purpose-driven life means weaving all 5 of these purposes together into your life. And when that happens, the result is a life that is balanced and deeply, deeply fruitful. So what's the ultimate goal in all this? What would be written on the tombstone of a life that was truly well-lived? The book points to this one simple, powerful line from the Bible. Rick Warren says there's no greater thing that could ever be said about a person than this: to have served God's purpose in your specific time and place in history. And really, that's what this entire book boils down to. It leaves us with this final, unavoidable question about our own legacy. According to the book, the big question at the end of our lives isn't going to be about our career, our bank account, or our comfort. The question we should be asking ourselves right now is this one: what will matter most in the end?